what are your thoughts on the sentiments of some students towards ongoing online classes?
I know there's really a controversial video going around. They were asking for my opinion on that. And I say the issues are valid. But then again, you look at also on the teacher side. It has to be with a compassionate lens. Kasi we also didn't like to be here in the first place. We would want to see you if we would have a choice.
What advice would you give to other teachers out there on handling and conducting online classes?
Is that you have to forgive yourself, okay? In the times that it's going to be very difficult. It is very difficult, especially in your own home and you have your responsibility. So we're not just individuals lang na teacher or students. We have to do our tasks. So we have to always navigate that role, okay? And we have to forgive yourself that as much as we want to deliver the best, we're also learning to navigate at this time.
Welcome back to another episode. Joining us today is Miss Salie Siao, a business professor in the Salle University. She has been teaching since she was 21 years old. It's her first time to teach fully online this term because of the pandemic, but her university has been training the faculty already for e-learning prior to this. Hello, Miss Salie, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Hello. Good evening. Or good day. Okay, good day.
So, we know naman na this pandemic has changed a lot of plans about the year. It made us adjust a lot of things in our life. So, what is it like to teach in this pandemic?
For me, I've been teaching in the same university since I was 21 years old. So, that's more than 10 years ago. And it's very, very different. So, if I would have to describe it, I'd say it's difficult because as a teacher, we could have done other professions, but we chose this profession because there's an instant satisfaction when we see our students when they have parang may aha moment sila na parang, uy, wow, I've learned something. So yung ganon, you don't get that anymore. So it's very difficult for me. And it's something na parang I'm still adjusting. Okay? So going back, there are a lot of adjustments, definitely. So the no face-to-face and the little interaction for me, it's the really big thing. But I'm also happy to witness because I'm teaching college students, they have evolved so much over kasi March kami huling nagkita and then we have year August na. Nakita ko kung paano sila nag-grow as students. Like they know now the boundaries already. They have email etiquette. So they conduct themselves professionally and very business-like. So for me, it's something that's really a win-win for me. So ayun. So for me, that's the thing with the pandemic. It's difficult. We're all experiencing this parang something that's very new to us and we are all experiencing something difficult. Maybe personally to us or siguro the anxiety that it would bring us not knowing what's in store in the future. So that's another factor why for me there's a lot of adjustments, difficulty, and a lot of things that's going on in our heads while we're doing online classes.
Alright, so in terms naman of preparations, did you need to procure or invest in gadgets for the online classes? Or what items did you invest in to prepare for the online classes?
Okay. Investment-wise, okay, because I'm having my meetings online, okay, so we have a Zoom link. When you log in on Zoom kasi, when your email address is .edu.ph or something .edu, libre ka agad yung Zoom. So at least meron kaming free use of that and that's where I conduct my classes. So in terms of gadgets, of course, I have to make myself presentable. So as a teacher kasi, it's something that's already imbibed with me. Parang I feel like I'm marketing myself. I need to market myself. I need to be my best, okay, so that students will also be inspired. So for me, I invested I have 2 laptops every time I have a class. It's because I wanted to make sure that I catch everybody, meaning pag may nagchat-chat, may papasok, may board ako, so may whiteboard kasi yung Zoom and so on. So yun yung gusto ko. I have 2 lights, okay, in front of me so that I look professionally, parang okay naman. Hindi siya ring light, it's just a study light, but it's 2 lights and I really studied kung ano yung kung white light ba siya, yellow light, so lahat yon pinag-aralan ko. I have a mic and then I actually place board parang egg crate around the wall so that this is where I conduct my class. And finally, I have a mic. That's it, and a headset. So yun. So I bought a lot. Yeah, a lot. I'd say a lot. And what else? Siguro on my chair, Like I bought like support because I'm not used to sitting so long. Teachers would know that because we're always standing, so it's difficult. So those are the things that I bought to help me in this online class.
So in terms naman of preparation for your students, how do you prepare your lessons and workloads for your students? And how different are those preparations in preparing for the face-to-face classes?
In my case, at least, we were given 1 month to prepare. Okay, so in that sense, we have to readjust the whole lesson. So it's not just the subject itself that we have to adjust, but the method of teaching. So for me, it's going back again to thinking about the process, the design. I don't want to overwhelm my students. As I've said, it's pandemic right now, and I wanted to see like totality. Paano yung design ko? I want it to be entertaining and at the same time educational. So ganun ko siya ginawa. I've already planned everything. So pre-planned everything already 1 month before the school starts. So we have 3 months, okay, for one term or 14 weeks. So that's already all prepared. And I just adjust every week. For example, because the class would have questions, or now they're actually asking me to do a podcast. So yan hindi ko na-prepare. So yun yung i-prepare ko this week. So may ganon. And then for the design, I'd say because there are different types of learners. You have the reader types, okay? You have the one who likes to read. There's a person who's very visual, who likes PowerPoint, who likes videos. There's someone who likes to feel, so there's someone who plays the game. And then you also have someone who likes to hear, so that's audio, so that's your podcast and your lecture. So I try to actually mix everything in one topic or in one session so that it's a total experience. So that's it. And then what I do as well in my class is that I make my students design their learning experience. So I call it the learning space. What they do is they make the topic, similar topic, but more interesting, so that people would actually appreciate the topic even after the class or even after the subject.
So how has the workload changed from the face-to-face to the online classes? Has the workload that you give to the students changed?
In terms of workload, I'd say it's the same, okay? I think the thing that changed would be the experience, okay? In the face-to-face kasi, we would be giving out like a syllabus. The syllabus kasi is given to college students at the start of the class, okay? Meaning at the start of the sem or the term. And then what they do is that they are tasked to be prepared about this topic and so on and so forth. So it's still the same way. It's just that I added a lot of videos because I can't be with them in a lecture na palagi. So yung ibang parts, ginawa kong videos, ginawa kong games, and so on and so forth. So method, wala masyado. It's almost the same, actually. It's just the way it's being delivered now.
So what are your thoughts on the sentiments of some students towards ongoing online classes?
Okay. So, yeah, I understand that. When it was starting last March, when we had that pandemic, so the lockdown started mga March 15 around that time. And even my university, we were forced to actually go full online. Okay? It's not my first time to experience as full online because as a student, meron na kaming system na ganon. So actually, parang medyo kabisado namin. Pero siguro 1 session, 1 week, ganun lang. But this time, we were asked to do that for 1 month. And we receive a lot of, we call it siguro hatred or something like that. You could say that. They didn't really like it. It was very hurtful for us as teachers because it was pandemic. It is still pandemic. But the point of the matter here is that we're on the same sea, di ba? Parang pare-parehas tayo na experience. Pare-parehas tayo may anxiety. It's just that we're probably in a different boat, but everything else, it's the same. So for me, we're trying our best as well to navigate through the seas na hindi namin kabisado rin. So it's very hurtful, but I guess we chose to be our higher self, and then we tried to understand the students that it's really all the adjustments. Now, when we started the term this July, I asked my students after 1 month, so it's August now, so tama-tama, I asked them their feedback, and then they said that we're already adjusting. So it's really mixed, okay? So it's a mixed reaction. Some would find it very efficient, okay? Some would say that they could actually have more free time. Others would say that the experience is very difficult, not because of the online learning itself, but because of the environment around them. So it's really like because they don't have a separate room, they share laptop with their cousins or with their brothers, or syempre maingay yung environment. So if you look into that or take that into consideration, it's the environment that's not conducive, but online learning kasi will be here to stay. So I'd say that students and teachers alike should embrace, learn to embrace and learn to adjust that this is going to happen and this is going to be the norm in terms of online or education. So I think like that. And siguro for me, when I was asking people around, it's really about setting boundaries. Okay, not trying to be, alam mo yun, sana i-manage yun na hindi kayo ma-overwhelm, gumawa kayo ng perfect environment. I know it's difficult because not everybody is living in a nice place. However, it's really a commitment that we're all trying to do. So teachers and students, we're all on the same boat. I would say siguro kasi that learning is really the responsibility, not just of the teacher giving the information or educating the student, but also the students who should be receiving the information. So it's like a two-way street. So even if I know there's really a controversial video going around, if you're familiar with that, did you watch that?
Yes, I did.
I watched it, and they were asking for my opinion on that, and I say the issues are valid. Actually, ganun rin yung naririnig ko with the students. But then again, you look at also on the teacher side, it has to be with the compassionate lens. Kasi we also didn't like to be here in the first place. Okay, we would want to see you if we would have a choice. But education is something that you should not stop. Diba? It has to stay because economically it would help everybody eventually, and it would really help the country to move forward eventually. So if you think about that, we're like soldiers really marching on as well. So yon. So I think students should also look at the teachers with the compassionate lens. I understand that their issues are valid, and I'm taking that parang into account na talaga nangyayari yon.
So what advice would you give to other teachers out there on handling and conducting online classes?
Okay, so yeah. So as a teacher, I'd say DLSU is the first university to actually start their school year. So I probably have a list, or at least a short list lang, of what would be my tips to the teachers. So number one, would be the design of the subject or the program. So number one is that we are not just subject matter experts anymore. So when we say subject matter experts, we say you're good in math or you're good in science or whatever. We're not just subject matter experts, okay? But we are a total person who should also be understanding students. And we could show compassion when we design our lessons. So it's really about a mix of a well-thought method and design. So babalik tayo sa design and method, okay? Ng kung paano mo siya gagawin, paano mo siya ituturo, whatever subject it is. So for example, for math, it could be like you could recommend YouTube videos, you could recommend supplementary videos, and the best way to teach kasi is to really have a forward-thinking person. Meaning, isipin mo how this design would actually how this design would help students. Knowledge should not be coming from teachers alone. There's a robust information out there. And I hope as teachers, we would actually take time to know what's new in our field. Okay, so that's my number one. Number two would be try to enroll in class. Okay, I'm not so sure. In some schools kasi they will be modular, ipapadala siya. In some schools, it's going to be full online as well. Being a student during the summer, and I know a lot of teachers are doing this, becoming students during the summer, it's actually a way for us to understand what's in the mind of our students. So immersing ourselves, okay, in this knowledge, okay, will give us technical advantage. And at the same time, parang we would know paano ba i-balance yung interest ng students and our subject. Next would be, I'd say, is that you have to forgive yourself, okay, in the times that it's going to be very difficult. It is very difficult, especially when you're in your own home and you have your responsibility. So we're not just individuals lang na teacher or students. We're also like sisters. We're also daughters. We're also moms, aunties, or whatever. Or we have to do our tasks. So we have to always navigate that role, okay? And we have to forgive yourself that as much as we want to deliver the best, we're also learning to navigate at this time or at this season for us. So for us, I would say teachers, it's also a learning season for us. Next would be that e-learning is here to stay. So that I would like to say to the teachers, okay? Some teachers are not really embracing the idea. Some students are not yet embracing the idea. But it's like, diba, necessity is the father of invention. And, okay, and the fact of the matter here is that nagdag-open na yung floodgate or yung opportunity for online to be really here. So might as well take advantage. It's pandemic, we're adjusting, but eventually it will become the norm. So we have to learn, continuous learning to, parang ganon. And finally, in the design, going back to the design. So this is my last point. Let's consider what will captivate the attention of our audience. Okay, so if we think about like we're products, because I came in with the mindset, because I'm a business teacher. So I have like this idea that what if I'm like a product or a service, I'm selling myself, okay? How would the customers be satisfied? So try to ask that kind of question. How would the students be satisfied with our method, with our learning? Not overwhelming them, giving them enough information, and making it interesting. And explaining to them the design. Diba? Ganun lang naman tayo as consumers. Diba? Gusto natin makita, bakit ganito itsura nito or something like that. So that would be my tips.
So there we have it for this episode. Thank you for joining us, and join us again next week